I'm also happy to be here in this setting to talk about creativity and childhood in a positive way, because normally when I'm asked to speak about something, it's mainly because there are problems, webcam problems, children assaulting each other and using the smartphone, and then the press wants my comments. So it's not always making me happy doing that, talking about those problems. I'm more content with this subject. And today I will tell you more about the Minecraft generation, the children who do more and more building. And I'm doing that by looking back a little bit and then introducing the children as we know them now. And I'm not here alone. I'm here with Suzanne Schouten from Sanoma. She's responsible for the Donald Duck. And Pauline, my colleague, who developed Code Kinderen, a toolkit for schools, helping them to program, etc. So I will use 10-15 minutes to give you a brief introduction, and then we'll give the word to Suzanne. A little bit more about myself. Now I'm a director of the foundation MijnKindOnline, but in a month or so we will merge with Kenniset, that is a public organization attached to the Ministry of Education. So we will be a public organization. And I'm also attached to POSCON, working for the European Commission. So POSCON is a working group of all experts in Europe being busy stimulating positive content for children. And right now I'm in the middle of making a book about how to make good content for children. I'm responsible for the Gouden Aapstaart competition in the Netherlands. What is the best website made by children and for children? And I'm also in an organization of the competitions on a European level. So 24 countries adopted the Dutch competition, and the Commission sponsors it, and I'm one of the guys helping all the countries doing that. Okay, looking back, when in the 90s, well, let's say 98, there weren't many children online. We had this book of Don Tapscott, Growing Up Digital, introducing the digital generation, book that has been very important for me. I started about 20 years ago, 96, with this topic, but back then hardly any children were online. They were busy playing games on CD-ROMs, and that was booming business, and no one believed that the digital kids would be an important topic. And so in the year 2000 we had only about 3-4 sites really big. I was back then responsible for the website Kids Planet. .nl 14 years ago, but the main site was Fox Kids, later on Disney and Jetix, and we had Kaboom. Ever heard of Kaboom? 14 years ago you were a child going to, you weren't online, because in 2000 we had about 15% of the children going online, and teenagers, they hated internet because it was so complicated and so slow to go online. But after then broadband came, cable ADSL in the Netherlands, and hives became big, not only among adults but also among children. And it was really cool to be a prime minister and be active on hives. And now it's a poor thing to look back and have a picture there. So we got social media, not only among adults, but also among children. Children at first, they consumed content that was produced for them, and now they were able to participate in social media platforms like Habbo Hotel, for example. Anyone knows Habbo? Yeah. People don't know it? So Solaka, a Finnish company, created this digital hotel. You could make an avatar, book a room, and fill the room with furniture that you should buy with real money, using your phone or credit card of mom and dad. And most children weren't allowed to buy furniture. About 5 to 10% got pocket money to spend money, so you needed other means to get your virtual goods. And very interesting that a lot of children, they created special rooms and had services for other children. So this, for example, is a hospital, and if you have a physical problem, the owner of this room can cure you, but only if you pay him a few carpets or furniture. So you saw quite some entrepreneurs in this hotel earning money by doing good for others and being creative and not spending money at all, but collecting furniture, virtual capital by doing services for other people. But you have a movie star planet as well. It's still quite popular, where you can act as a movie star and chat with friends and have a lot of fun, but still created by adult companies making a lot of money by letting children believe that it's all for free. You can be there for free, but at the end, if you really want to have a good time, you have to spend money, the clothing, etc. And it still puts the child in a position that is not always good, I think. Another development from about 2010 is that more and more schools interfere in the digital culture. So this is created, for example, by a teacher called Tessa, who started a travel agency. So with her class, she made this website, this blog, and as a total stranger, you can ask for travel information. And let's say you want to go to Moscow, you send this classroom an email asking for information about the things you can do in Moscow, how to get there, and 20 children will work for you and give you a suitable advice. So by doing that, they learn how to deal with customers, how to cooperate with each other, but also studying other countries. So you can use a book and read all about Moscow, but you can also use the internet in a safe way, a creative way, guided by your teacher, and doing actual work for people everywhere around the world. So this was another development, a very positive development, that schools do more and more, and we still have a lot of work to do in the school system. Well, the new developments, after 1.0 we got 2.0, and now we have future developments, new content made for the iPad, not only for teenagers and primary school children, but also very young age children. The Netherlands is one of the countries with a lot of, with the most young children using digital media. We did research last year called Inemine Media, and about two-thirds of the families with children below 7 own an iPad, and even sometimes a second iPad. And it's very normal to give your child an iPad to play with, whereas parents about 10 years ago, they were very scared that accidents would happen in contact with strangers. Now modern young parents think it's very normal to have their children play with digital tools, but at the same time they wonder what screen time is responsible. So it's not that parents don't care, but they're very busy also in asking the right questions. What is good for my child? How long? But this is what the new companies in Utrecht, in Amsterdam, everywhere, come up with. And the new trend, I think, is that more and more developers, producers want to take the content out of the machine. This is made by Funk Mobile in Amsterdam, and they really try to put the board game, out of the iPad. At Klokhuis, for example, recently launched the app Zoek het uit, Explore it. And it's meant for families doing scientific experiences, not only busy as an individual on the iPad, but encourage the family to put the iPad on the table and take ice cubes, everything to experiment with, and the iPad as a starting point to have a social, scientific experience as a family. Also taking content out of the iPad and do things together. And I think the future is still the traditional board game. I think the Monopoly, Ganzenbord, a very popular Dutch game, will remain popular more and more, I think, because children like to play on the iPad, doing Toca Boca or Angry Birds, but they really still enjoy playing with their mom and dad or with their friends. And then a normal board game is more usable than using peons on a digital screen. So the board games still have the future. So if you look back, then at first children consumed content made for them, and then they started using media as a social tool, communicating with other children, and that stirred a lot of discussion, leading to problems also, because chatting with strangers can lead to encounters you don't want to have. So we realized more and more that communicating online is also making things public. Chatting with someone on Facebook is also putting text on a website that can be seen by everyone. So communicating is also publishing. Every child, every digital user is a publisher, making things public. And I think that publishing in the future will be more and more programming, coding, actually making things. That is really different than about 3 years ago. Minecraft is the best example. I think Habbo, made by Sulake, is an environment very directed by a company. So you're allowed to make things, but the company is still in charge. Minecraft is different. You get all the Lego tools, but then digital, and a child can decide what he will build. He can make a hotel, but he can also make a pyramid. It's all there, and you pay one time, one amount of money, and that's it. You're not harassed all the time by marketeers asking you to spend more and more money, like in Habbo and Movie Star Planet and many other virtual worlds. So they make beautiful things. I have 3 children. One is 8 and two are 4. I have a twin, and I have a son of 4, and he just loves to play Minecraft. I'm not saying he's an Einstein building the ancient Greek world, but he's quite clever, and they're making just beautiful things like this pool, for example. But still, children remain children, and they come up with other things as well. And teenagers as well. They make. So the future is, and if you merge Minecraft with Lego, you get Roblox. And what Roblox makes it, I think this is interesting. I think because the makers of Roblox encourage children to make games themselves in this environment, and if it's good enough, they will adopt the game, the user-generated game in this environment, and you earn money as well. So if other users want to play the game and are willing to pay for it, you get half of the earnings. Also very popular, and an example of new content made for this generation is Scratch. Later on we have Pauline telling more about Code Kinderen. Scratch is part of this toolkit of really programming content. And also very striking is that you see more and more, not only in the States but also in Europe, the coder dojos. You get more and more places where children are invited to make things. This is in England, I believe. That is in Belfast. There are coder dojos in Belgium, and there are in the Netherlands as well. Mainly developers, I think, inviting children to come along and not play chess, but make things together. And on a European level, for a very long time, the focus has been on safer internet. So most of European money went to filters preventing your child encountering harmful content. And a new digital agenda made by Daily Goose is focusing on a better internet for children. Like POSCON, the initiative I'm involved with, is busy with helping producers making more beautiful content, positive content, and not only keeping them away from the porn and the violence. And instead of teaching them how to use everything responsible and safely, Goose wants to educate more people, creative and entrepreneurs, because it's necessary. Media literacy is just as important as reading and writing. If you aren't able to use the media in a good way, then you can't participate. And more companies also press the Commission and the education system to train more children to become programmers, because that's what they lack. They need people to build the things like the iPads and the 3D printers, etc. Many new professions have emerged, and we haven't the people here in the Netherlands being able to do that, and the schools aren't anticipating on that. So we really need to make a leap forward, and we did that by creating Code Kinderen. That is my conclusion. So we really need to do more than there is now, and it's up to the schools that can use Code Kinderen, but it's also good to work with companies. And Sanoma is one of the companies who also see that a lot of things has to happen. So I would give you the opportunity now to tell everyone what Sanoma can contribute.
Well, very good morning to all of you. A couple of weeks ago, Remco sent me an email about Creative Mornings if I wanted to talk together with him on programming. And to be very honest, I never heard about Creative Mornings, so I went to the website and I was pretty impressed. So first of all, my compliments to the organization. I'm very proud being here. It's such a wonderful global initiative. Just a few words about me. Working in Sanoma Media Company in the Netherlands, I'm responsible for all kids products. Within Sanoma, it's international for a little bit, not too much yet, but that's well our goal. I'm responsible for books, magazines, but now these days also apps, digital platforms, websites, events, etc. And to be honest, the main important magazine we have is the Donald Duck Weekly. It's well known in a lot of countries, not under the name Donald Duck Weekly, but for example in Finland, that's also a company, Sanoma company, we have Aku Anka, which is also really market leader in Finland. But in the Netherlands we also market leader, not only within kids, but also within men. And that's maybe nice for the international audience we have. We are in the Netherlands bigger than Playboy magazine. So with men 25 plus. So Donald Duck is really a very strong brand. I'm already for 20 years working in the kids industry. And a lot of people asking me, what is your next step? And then I'm thinking, the next step? I don't want to leave the target group because I love it still every day. And why is that? Because kids are changing so fast. The market is changing everywhere, but even the kids are changing faster. The teens are doing different things every week. The kids are changing maybe a bit slower, but also they are changing very fast. 20 years ago when I started, we were mainly focused on books and paper, and also the children were reading books and paper magazines, sorry. And the audience we had were mainly, the target group were parents. We were talking in our communication strategy, we were talking to the parents because they were the one paying for the magazine. But the target group changes very fast, not only the market but also the kids. For example, the influence they have on the buying behavior of their parents, that changed a lot. They decide what they want on, on holiday, which kind of color of the car should be, but also, of course, their own products. So already 10 years ago, we started to change our communications, not parents first, but kids first. That was a whole different thing, but it worked. And we had a whole different communication and marketing plan. But then the market started to change as well. And not a bit, a lot. A lot of competition came in. Not only magazines and not only books, but also tablets, DVD, games, etc., etc. So even Donald Duck needed to think how to participate in this whole new digital world. So what we started to do with the whole team, I'm working with around 50 people, creative people, technical people now these days, but also writers. We have so many commercial people, creative editors, layout people. It's a whole different team. So we took all of the team together and we started to think, how can we participate in this new world? And how can we maybe help children? And we had two goals. First of all, commercial company, we needed to earn money. Still led by Uncle Scrooge. So that was the first thing, but on the other hand, we wanted to have a higher goal. How can we at least help the children? What do they need in 10 years, 20 years, in the 21st century? What do they need to make a living? Do they need, what kind of skills do they need? What kind of jobs will there be? Are there still jobs like we have now? I don't think so. I think a lot of jobs will be changed by robots. So what kind of jobs will be there and what do they need? So Kennisnet, the company Remco is working very close with, they did a very big research on what kind of skills kids will need in the 21st century. And at least, it's not all of them of course, but at least they will be needing creativity. They need to be innovative. And critical thinking is very important. But also media skills, problem-solving skills, leadership, digital knowledge, computer skills. All these kind of things you see here in this slide, they're not taught in the regular school system. So we were started to think how maybe with a big brand as Donald Duck is, can we play a role in helping children but also their parents to at least pay attention to these skills. So there we have decided, and this is kind of a breaking news because the next week our press release will go out. Donald Duck will start with a kind of educative label, and within this label we will especially focus on 21st century skills. And it will not only be products. Next week we will launch our first product, but we also do PR events. We will do themed editions, not only selling things, but also making children and parents think about the skills and how they could, at least learn these skills. And where can they find it? But the most important thing for the Donald Duck will always stay that it needs to be fun. So our goal will be to be the funniest one in the educational world, because we still have our value and we couldn't be too seriously on education. So it needs to be gamification, it needs to be fun. And in that strategy, Remco and I, we know each other already for a long time, but we met on the seminar about programming. And I was sitting there and I was very much impressed about Codekinderen. And I thought, how could we help that at least in the whole of the Netherlands, the kids know about Codekinderen, and the teacher needs to be positive and the teacher needs to be enthusiastic about this. And the teacher is a kind of afraid maybe at the moment, which is I think not necessary, though I'm not technical at all. But you just need some energy and enthusiastic. You need to be enthusiastic for this program. So in this spring, the Donald Duck Weekly will have a themed edition about programming and coding, made together with, of course, Disney and Remco and his team. So we hope with, presenting this special edition from Donald Duck, we hope at least we can make the children enthusiastic and let them think about, hey, I like programming. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. It is easy. Sorry, it's easy and it's not that difficult. And how can I make sure I can do it? So hopefully they will go to their teachers, they will go to their parents and ask for, how can I learn these skills? And in the end, of course, we hope that those children will go to their teachers and the teachers will bring in the programming in school. We need time for that. It's not easy to get those things into the schools, but at least a brand like we have should help. So we are very much convinced, as talking about the brand Donald Duck, that we can at least help, and we are going to motivate the children to go for the 21st century skills. And in the end, we will do that just because they need it in the future, because also they need to make a living, and at least they need those skills. So that's what my story is. I keep it short, and you will have the press release next week. Thank you.